My name is Katya. I run our performance advertising department in the EMEA. And today we're going to talk about maximizing your user acquisition. The scale campaigns are quite standard campaigns that you run possibly with a lot of your other partners. They're standard CPI campaigns. Of course, there are various ways to optimize these campaigns by whitelisting, blacklisting, or graylisting. I'm not going to go into too much detail about the scale campaigns because this is probably the area that you're most familiar with, most of you. But we'll concentrate a lot on the retention and the ROAS campaigns that we offer. So the retention and ROAS campaigns, this is something that's quite unique to Unity, and this is the product that we call Audience Pinpointer. What we originally thought, and how our normal CPI campaigns work, is that, as you can see in this first box, every single little person is the same color. This means that we pay exactly the same bid for every single user that we get. Your bids are flat, and it doesn't matter what the post-install quality of the specific user is. The next level, and kind of the more, when you're going towards maximizing your user acquisition activities, is by bucketing the users. So you know some users from particular publishers work well for your titles, some work worse, some work really, really well. So in this example, there are 4 buckets. So you can have one standard bucket, which is your wrong campaigns. You can have a bucket, like a gray list campaign with having lower CPIs. And then you can have 2 other buckets with whitelist campaign and super high whitelist campaign, where you're paying higher CPIs because you know the users from these publishers are much better for you. However, we took it one step further, and we now have all these colorful little people, which means that each specific bid is adjusted to the quality of the user. So the way the Audience Pinpointer campaign works is that you do have specific price for each user that you're acquiring through us. So no price is ever the same, and it completely depends on the quality of the user. The quality in this case could be either day 7 retention or day 7 ROAS. This confirms, or like this ensures, that you're actually paying proportionate price to the quality of each user. As I mentioned, day 7 retention, day 7 ROAS is what we offer at the moment. And this is how the actual machine learning and the algorithm works. First of all, we get the ad request. At that point, we predict the value of the specific user that we're going to show the ad to. Based on this value, whether it is retention or ROAS, we will decide on the bid for the specific user. At that point, the install happens. We charge you based on the CPI for the specific user. But we don't stop just at this point. We actually observe what happened at that point. We look at the post-install quality of that user and the actual actions that took place after the install. We then feed back this information and improve the machine learning system. As with any machine learning, we're constantly learning, and the more data there is, the better the campaigns are going to perform. With the retention campaigns, this is quite a visual example, as you can see. If your game is, for example, as in this example, your average day 7 retention is 15%, and you set your bid at $5. If we find a user whose retention is 3 times higher, i.e. it's 45%, you will be paying 3 times higher the bid, i.e. $15. Of course, in campaigns like this, or with any kind of normal campaigns, it is quite hard to find users which are a lot higher quality. So a majority of your users will come from around the same average retention rate that you normally get. For these fewer users that you get with a higher quality, yes, we'll still try to find them, but the CPIs, of course, are going to be proportionally higher. Similarly, with the ROAS campaigns, everything, again, works on the same level, that we use our machine learning system. The bids are adjusted according to the quality of the users. And again, after the install, we feed this back, all the information, and we use that in the future predictions. Here are the 2 examples. The first one is on the retention campaign. They're taken from the beginning of the year, when the level of the users is quite high. But you can see that whilst running the retention campaigns, the average day 7 retention for our top ads, top apps that are spending money on retention campaigns, has gone up by 165%, which is quite a significant growth just through running these campaigns. We also, for these apps, we look at the information with the in-app purchases for those who are passing this to us, and this uplift in the retention also led to 15% uplift in the ROAS. For the ROAS campaigns, again, great results. You can see that there was a 72% increase in day 7 ROAS whilst running these campaigns. and also 82% increase in the depositors rate. However, I'm not going to show you just the graphs. I actually have one of our clients here, Ivan from Vizer, who I would like to invite on stage right now, who will go through some of the questions I'd like to ask him. So, could you please tell us a bit more about yourself and what you do?
Okay, my name is Ivan. I work at Vizer Games as head of marketing. So I used to work with Unity for a while by myself, managing campaigns with managers from that side. Now I'm managing the team who are operating Unity ads, and I could say that we're pretty successful with this channel. So,
cool. And you said that you've been working with Unity for quite some time. So how long has it roughly been?
Personally, me, I worked like 5 years with Unity ads, and at Vizer 4 years.
Cool. And you've been running these standard campaigns because these audience pinpointer campaigns weren't available some time ago. So how have you decided, why did you decide to try these campaigns?
Okay, so the situation was that we had pretty good success with regular install campaigns, but we wanted to scale, and we thought that these campaigns could give us more qualified users. So that's why we are always open, as you know, to any opportunity from platform. So we started.
And you're currently only running ROAS campaigns, so we also have an option of retention campaigns. How come you're not running retention campaigns, but only chose to do ROAS?
Okay, so we were quite suspicious to retention campaigns since we are not hyper-casual games, and good retention in our game doesn't mean that players will have good ROAS, and since all our user acquisition model is ROAS-driven, so we haven't tried it yet, but after I saw your topic and everything, I said, maybe I'll try for some region, maybe for some like less paying regions, we'll definitely try it like right after the Casual Connect.
Yes, excellent. So this is actually quite interesting because it depends on the economy of your game. If your game is based on in-app purchases, of course, the ROAS campaigns work really well. But if your game is heavily based on ads, which is not the case with Vizer, of course, running the retention campaigns could also be really helpful. In our plans, we actually are planning to add ad revenue as one of the options to optimize your campaigns towards day 7. But at the moment, this is what we have. So we're concentrating on retention and ROAS. Cool. And so for the ROAS campaigns, you have an option of selecting the maximum bid. And also you do set your own day 7 ROAS target. Has this been helpful?
Yeah, it was. But the fact I said we want to scale, we haven't got any significant scale using APP campaigns, but the overall quality went higher just because we noticed that APP campaigns, they're quite cannibalizing the regular ones. So the same publishers that were performing well in regular campaigns, they are like moving to another group. So we got the same volume, but maybe like 10-15% higher ROAS. So probably would like to have more flexibility in terms of optimization for like maybe fifth day or first day or 14th day, and I bet it could help us to scale. So are you planning to do this?
Yeah, I was going to say that this was my next question. What's missing? So optimizing towards different days. Yes, we are planning on doing this. It is a bit harder to just change the algorithm, of course. But yes, we are planning on adding different days. So the dates we're discussing at the moment is day 1, day 7 is what we have, day 14 and day 30. But yes, we're looking to adding more options for sure.
That's cool.
Yeah. And so you mentioned with the day 7 ROAS campaigns, you have increased your ROAS by 10-15%. Does it correspond to the ROAS that you actually set for the campaigns?
So I said like not especially for APP campaigns we create that data saying road, but overall for Unity as a channel. Yeah. So what was the question? So
with the, you can set the day 7 ROAS target.
Was it?
Yeah, the day. Yeah.
Okay, it was ours. So sometimes it was, and sometimes it was not, and we noticed that tricky thing. So if we count the regular ROAS per channel for our product, for example, for day 7, it's like 20, let's imagine. And if you're trying to put the goal above the things you have previously, it won't drive any volume at Unity, unfortunately. So now you should play with your maximum bid and with your RS, and sometimes we do even the goal much lower than it's the actual one, and then we are keeping the bid. So now like tricky way it works. but sometimes we had results with above, below, and exact numbers, but you should always play with it. It doesn't, unfortunately, it doesn't work like our goal is 30, we put 30, everything's right. So you should play with it. But since you have two like bidding options, the bidding mechanisms, you could at least play with it.
That's interesting. And with the, so this is obviously completely the Unity track, Unity, what we offer, but just to make it a little bit more wide, with any of your other partners, do they offer similar solutions? Do they work? What have you tried?
So I could not say like exactly the same solutions, but of course Facebook does and Google does in their own way.
Do they
Plugin tried to do it, but it was not actually ROAS, it was like optimizer for ROAS.
Okay.
So among video networks we work, you're the only one, I think, now.
Okay, good to know. And of course, because the subject of this talk is maximizing your user acquisition activity, has running these campaigns helped you to maximize your user acquisition activity with us?
Yeah, I think in some ways it helps. As I said, the volume stayed quite the same, but the quality went higher. And you remember 1 year ago here at Casual Connect, we were having lunch and you said, like, I have good news for you. We have this ROAS campaign right in the future. And I said, oh yeah, it's going to change, and it changed. So.
Cool. Is there anything else you would like to add to tell more about your work with these campaigns or with Unity in general?
With these campaigns, I think no, but with Unity in general, we're really missing playable as an end card. I think that's really the weakest point of your system, because all other not all, but many other networks do it, and it shows incredible results, and we really want. All my guys who work with Unity, they say like, we want it when they do it.
Yeah, we have run a test on the playables and end cards in the past, and we are going to bring it back. It is in the product plans, so it will be happening. It's not the first priority. I think the next, so we currently work with videos and playables. The next big project for us is the interstitial kind of banners, interstitial images, because it actually opens up new inventory completely. The thing with playables and end cards is that we'll still be competing in the same inventory. So it almost like the network could become even more competitive. So that's why we're kind of focusing on adding a new format as the next stage. But we're definitely going to do that as well.
Thank you, cool.
Cool, thank you very much, Evan. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Cool, and since we're talking not just about running these campaigns, but maximizing what you can do with them, so I'll quickly go through the best practices for these campaigns. So first of all, as I mentioned earlier, as with any machine learning system, as with any algorithm, the more data we have, the more accurate the predictions will be. The more events, the more accurate it will be, the better results you are most likely to get. Something actually exactly what Ivan has mentioned is setting realistic goals and realistic targets. So with the day 7 ROAS campaigns, you can set your own day 7 ROAS goal. If you can see that historically your day 7 ROAS is 5%, then setting a goal of 50% or, I don't know, 60%, whatever it is not realistic. We will try to find these users, yes, for sure. However, the scale of the campaigns is not going to be there. We will try to find this couple of users who have 10 times higher ROAS or retention, ROAS in this case actually. But the chances of us actually finding those users are quite low. The other thing that's actually come to light quite, semi-recently is the increasing number of LAT users on iOS, and this is particularly the case in US. So with the users who selected to turn on the limited ad tracking system, of course, we can't target those users. So whenever you're passing the data to us, please keep in mind that these users actually, we will not be able to target them. And the other side, the don'ts. Yes, so don't set your maximum CPI too low, or actually really interesting, the daily cap as well. We've had a case semi-recently where an advertiser set their maximum CPI to $100. So we're like, okay, this is great. Of course, the scale is going to be there. But their daily cap was only $1,000. So of course, in this respect, we're kind of limiting ourselves because at the maximum end of the bid, we will only be able to get 10 installs. So of course, the algorithm wasn't sending any impressions. With blacklisting and whitelisting, of course, this is something very traditional for the normal CPI campaigns. We don't advise to run any blacklists or whitelists to start with, at least, for these campaigns, because with the audience pinpointer campaigns, all the optimization is based on the user level. So we're not looking at the publishers, but specifically users in each specific publisher. So if you are very, very sure that some particular game might not work for you, we might still be able to find that one user in that game that could work for you. And the final thing, again, similar to what Ivan was saying, is the balance of ROAS and the CPI for the scale. So if you set your ROAS way too high and your CPI will have to be quite low, if you have a low CPI, then of course you will struggle to actually get any volumes. Finally, as I'm sure you're all excited to start these campaigns, there are 3 easy steps to actually start the campaigns. First of all, you need to start passing us the session and purchase data. It's quite straightforward with any third-party tracking provider. It's normally just a tick box, so it's very easy. We'll then be able to verify on our end that we're getting the data in the correct format, and then we can set the campaigns live. Finally, the minimum requirements for the data. For the retention campaigns, we need 300 installs per country, per platform in the last 30 days. It's not a high number, so normally with retention campaigns, it's quite easy to achieve. With ROAS campaigns, we need 100 unique depositors per country, per platform in the last 60 days. So this metric is a bit different because it depends, of course, on the economy of your game. If you have a lot of purchases or if it's ad-based, etc. We can run campaigns with slightly lower numbers, but with any, like I said again, with any machine learning, the more data we have, the more accurate the prediction model will be. Well, that's absolutely fine. If you have any questions, here's my email address. I will also be around the conference. We do have a booth on the 3rd floor, so feel free to come up and ask any questions. Thank you.